What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matson here, your host of the show, Metro Scout Fantasy Football. It's Friday night, and it's time to knock out another Superflex rookie mock draft. On this one, I grabbed some people off Twitter, and we conducted this one off Sleeper. Rocked out this draft, and I like this one because it's a lot different. It's going to surprise you on some of these players. It's a very different draft compared to some of the others that you've seen. We've had some players fall down the board a little bit. Some players get reached on. Quarterbacks are going in some crazy spots. Some players are going ahead of others that are very controversial. Let me know in the comments who you thought got overdrafted. Let me know who you thought fell too far, because we had some weird stuff happen in this draft, which I love. I love chaos. Drafts like this is what we live for. But with that being said, let's jump into this 2-round Superflex rookie mock draft. So with the first pick of this Superflex rookie mock draft, we selected, or the guy who in this draft selected, at the 101, the first player off the board, Breece Hall, running back from Iowa State. We know he's going to get decent draft capital, probably going to be a second-round pick, 3-down workhorse, can catch the ball in the backfield, good to go, 2.83 yards after contact per attempt, 82 career catches, so he can catch the ball in the backfield. He's going to get the draft capital to allow us to project him to get a sizable workload early in his career. Breece Hall is worth the 101 at this spot. We have a surprise here at the 102, considering how we've seen some of the other mock drafts shake out. With this pick, the player that came off the board here was Kenneth Walker, running back from Michigan State. At one time, he was competing for the Heisman Trophy. There was a lot of talks around that. Rusher over 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns, forced 89 missed tackles. Very cerebral runner. Good approach to the line of scrimmage, good vision, good contact balance. There's a lot to like about his game. Most important for us fantasy gamers, he is probably more than likely going to get good draft capital, probably drafting the second round among the big three of Hall, Spiller, and him. Choose who you like best among those three running backs, because all three of them are going to get their chance to prove themselves at the next level. Moving on to 103, and it's time to go wide receiver, and here we went Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas. Not a surprise here, considering he is considered the wide receiver one for many people. Had a 41.15% market share of Arkansas's passing production this year. Broke out at age 19, which is a good threshold to pass for breakout age, and had 3.57 yards per route run. This guy's stellar after the catch, gangster at the catch point, has good size, adjusted speed, and probably will get that first-round draft capital. Moving on to the 104 pick, fourth player off the board, another wide receiver. This one's not a surprise. It's Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. He's going to be a first-round pick, might be the first wide receiver off the board, more than likely. Has gangster change of direction skills, good ball skills to boot. Broke out at age 19 and averaged 3 yards per route run. Very cerebral route runner, can break off routes, and is very nasty when creating that separation. I think when you combine his skill set along with draft capital, it's hard to not put him up there in the conversation of wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 in this year's rookie draft. Moving on to the 105 pick, here we're going running back, and we're getting the last guy out of the big three, and it's Isaiah Spiller, running back from Texas A&M. Thick boy, can catch the ball in the backfield, most likely going to be drafted in the second round, so we'll have the draft capital to get the opportunity early in his career to get those touches. 3.63 yards after contact per attempt. For a lot of people, he's their RB1. He's considered among the big three, one of the top running backs in this class. Moving on to the 106 pick here, the sixth player off the board, we're going to the wide receiver well. And with this selection, might shock you a little bit, but they drafted David Bell, wide receiver from Purdue. Would not be surprised, once everything's said and done, that he would be considered the best wide receiver from this class. As an age 18 breakout, has been a baller throughout his career, making big plays, good route runner, can create separation, can get downfield, had a 31.47% market share of produced passing production, and I look for him to rise boards this draft season. I look for him to earn good draft capital this year. I don't think he's going to fall off the map. I feel like he's going to have a decent combine, and I feel like he's going to be good to go. Moving on to the 107, and this player fell in the draft, considering this is Superflex, but this might be a good range for some folks if they're leery on the quarterback position. But here it's Malik Willis, quarterback for Liberty. His stock went up after the Senior Bowl. I love his mobility. I love his big playability. He is very risky. He is very rough around the edges. You cannot speak on that. You can't be honest about him unless you speak on that. But the big playability's there. The Konami code's there. If he hits, he's hitting big. There's a chance he whiffs, but QB1 is in his range of outcomes. He is considered, for a lot of people, the QB1 in this draft, especially after what we saw from the Senior Bowl. We're seeing that a lot on social media. Malik Willis here at 107 is definitely not a bad pick. And when we go to the 108 pick here, we're still going quarterback. They selected Kenny Pickett, quarterback from Pittsburgh. He's definitely going to be a first-round pick. We're going to see where he goes, how high he goes in the first round, what team he's going to be with. That's going to drive his draft value in Dynasty leagues. He has a little bit of rushing floor, which helps his fantasy prowess. Had a big senior season this year, very productive. However, that was his only gangbuster year. Good arm, can process the field really well. There's a lot of good things in his game. Let's see where he goes. Here at the 108 spot for a quarterback that could see a large rise in value and maintain that value is a good play to make. Let's move on to the 109 pick, and here they selected Chris Olave, wide receiver from Ohio State, possibly one of the best route runners in this class. More than likely, he's going to be drafted in the first round. Has speed, burst, good change of direction skills. I look for him to be a value in drafts, and at the 109 spot is usually higher than where I see him go, usually around the second roundish, maybe mid-second round range. But 109, a little early compared to other drafts, but I can't say it's a bad pick either. Moving down to the 110 spot, and here we have a guy slip a little bit. We don't usually see him fall this far. But in this spot, they drafted Drake London, wide receiver from USC. Big year this year. Then had the ankle injury. Had a 30.28% market share. Had 3.52 yards per route run. Tremendous wide receiver who's going to be drafted in the first round. I look for him to hold his value throughout draft season. Tremendous value still at the 110 spot. I can't get over that. Let's move on to the 111 pick, and here we went back to the quarterback. Well, this guy kind of fell in the draft here. Good value, immense value. Matt Corral, quarterback, Ole Miss. If you're this late in the draft, you got one of the quarterbacks on the board looking at you, you pretty much have to go with it because low risk, high reward here. But he's a good value here at this spot. Good arm, can rush the ball a little bit, can only give you a little bit of that rushing floor, can sling the ball downfield. He's going to have first round draft capital. For a lot of people, he's the QB1 in this draft. And if he gets good draft capital, you're going to see him rise boards a little bit. These quarterbacks have been flowing up and down boards in a lot of these drafts. We've seen a lot on this channel. Again, I'm not surprised that he fell. And I'm not surprised that he goes top 3 because I've seen it all. But Matt Corral at 111, getting a first-round quarterback this late in the draft in Superflex is always a good deal. Let's move on to the 112 spot here. At this pick, they drafted Jahan Dotson, wide receiver from Penn State. He's a potential first rounder, had a 35.89% market share of Penn State's passing production, and broke out at age 20. Potential to have good draft capital here. Has some good things in his profile, has good hands, runs good routes over the middle and stuff. I like him at this part in the draft. And I know there's a lot of guys that are really high on Jahan Dotson. They have him in their top 5. That's it for the first round of this draft. We're going to head on to the second round. And with the first pick in the second round, the 201, they selected Jameson Williams, wide receiver from Alabama. Slid in this draft. Usually he goes in the first round, even in Superflex. Slid in this draft a little bit. We saw some guys go a little higher than usual. I told you this was a trickier draft, but that's the stuff you want to see on the channel. You want to see stuff different. You don't want to see the same thing over and over. Jameson Williams at the 201. He's got 4.3 speed. More likely going to be drafted in the first round. Savvy route runner, coming back from the ACL injury. But at this spot, that's a tremendous value. Moving on to the 202, they drafted George Pickens, wide receiver from Georgia. I've seen him getting drafted around this area a lot, sometimes back part of the first round, early part of the second round, but still, this area is kind of like the same. But the 202 spot's a good value for a wide receiver like this, considering he has the potential to be a top 3 wide receiver in this draft. Ball skills for days, he's very physical, and he broke out at age 18. We only have 3 wide receivers among all the top wide receivers in this draft, like the top 20 or so, that broke out at age 18. Again, he's a physical playmaker who can be a difference maker at the next level. Moving on to the 203 pick here, they selected Sam Howell, quarterback from North Carolina. Again, when you get a quarterback who's potentially getting drafted in the first round, it's always going to be a value. This guy has some rushing production to his name. He could help you out in fantasy. Had 800 rushing yards this year. Hit 18 miles per hour running at the Senior Bowl, if that amounts to anything. But he can give you a little bit of that rushing floor. He's not a Konami guy. He's more of a scrambler. He's been productive throughout his career at North Carolina. Again, he's not like a phenom or anything, but a first-round prospect falling to the second round of a Superflex draft is always a good value to snag. Moving on to the 204 pick, 4th pick in the second round. Here they drafted Rachaad White, running back from Arizona State. This guy can catch the ball in the backfield. He's going to be a good PPR back for fantasy if he gets the opportunity to get carries. Had over 1,000 yards this year and 15 touchdowns, averaged 3.38 yards after contact per attempt. He's very slick in the open field and can make big plays happen. Moving up to the 205 pick, and here we went wide receiver again and selected Justin Ross, wide receiver from Clemson. His career got derailed big time. Spinal injury was pretty serious. And then Clemson's bad offense in 2021. However, he broke out at age 18 at Clemson, which was considered wide receiver U back in the day, which wasn't too long ago. Slick route runner. Like, this guy can sell routes, break off his routes with the best of them in this class. Slick ball skills. He's going to be a value considering his upside, because if he taps into what he was looking like during his freshman and sophomore season, he could be the best wide receiver in this draft. There's a lot of iffiness. It's a little dicey. It's hard to wrap your head around it considering that's been so long ago, but there's a chance that he can tap back into that. Moving on to the 206 spot, 6th player in the second round here. They drafted Kyron Williams, running back from Notre Dame. Austin Eckler type of back. Shiftier, smaller guy with a lot of burst and open field here. Good value considering he's been jumping up in the first round a lot of drafts in these mocks. 3.71 yards after contact per attempt this year. And he is good at blocking. He can block his face off. That's going to allow him to get opportunities early in his career. Then he has to just capture those opportunities and play well. Moving on to the 207 pick. Here they drafted Wan'Dale Robinson, wide receiver from Kentucky. This guy broke out with 2 collegiate programs at age 19 with Nebraska, then this year at age 20 with Kentucky. That is something you don't see every day. You don't have that in every class. This guy has good change of direction skills, good short area quickness, can get downfield and make plays happen. Successful at the SEC level this year. Very productive. I like Wan'Dale Robinson a lot, especially in the second round of rookie drafts. Moving on to the 208 spot here, and here we're drafting our first tight end in the draft. To no surprise, it's Trey McBride from Colorado State. Killed the Senior Bowl, looked good. Killed it all season long, has been a market share dandy throughout his career. He's a good pass catcher, and he might jump in the first round. If he jumps in the first round, we might see him climb boards, considering this as kind of a wonky rookie class. Moving on to the 209 pick here. Here, they drafted Carson Strong, QB from Nevada. Again, it's Superflex. QBs hold value. Second rounder more likely, maybe in the first, so should have some decent draft capital. He has a strong arm, he can sling the rock. Quarterbacks hold value, and at this stage of the draft, it's low risk, high reward. Moving on to the 210 pick, similar situation here. They drafted Desmond Ridder, quarterback from Cincinnati. He's got some mobility. He's shown that he can win on the field at Cincinnati. Probably going to be drafting the second round. Could jump up a bit if he improves his stock going forward. But this is a good value. Again, low risk, high reward draft pick. Now we're at the 211 pick. And here they drafted Tyler Algier, running back from BYU. And this dude is team thick. He's 220 pounds. At least that's where he's listed at. We'll see at the combine where he's at. Big, thick running back. Rushed for over 1,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, had 4.16 yards after contact per attempt. I look for him to rise draft boards in the NFL draft and in rookie drafts going forward in draft season. To the last pick of the second round, the 212, and they selected Sky Moore, wide receiver from Western Michigan. This guy's been productive throughout his career. Broke out at age 19 this season. Over 1,200 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns. Averaged 3.4 yards per route run. He's shifty. He's quick. He's smooth. If he gets good draft capital, if he gets the opportunity to succeed at the next level, we could have a productive asset. That's it for this Superflex rookie mock draft. Let me know what you think about it. Who do you think fell? Who do you think got overdrafted? Who missed the cut that you wish got drafted? Let me know who got snubbed. Again, I want to thank you for watching the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. It fuels me to keep doing these mock drafts with people and sharing the results. It fuels me to go over tape, fuels me to go over the metrics, fuels me to do everything else to help support you guys and help you with your rookie drafts, fantasy drafts, anything evolving with football, and I just want to keep you entertained. Again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.